Hello and welcome to Decision 2030. The midterm elections are here. We're taking a look at Ron DeSantis' first midterm election 2 years into office. As we can take a look here at his approval ratings, currently he has a 47% approval rating right now, 50% disapproval, giving him a net disapproval of 3%. Pretty good approvals for a president coming into his first midterm. Now we have the four retiring GOP senators. We have Jeff Atwater of Florida, Mike Braun of Indiana, Deb Fischer of Nebraska, and John Barrasso of Wyoming. However, on the Democrat side, we have quite a few senators retiring. We have the Senate Majority Leader, Amy Klobuchar. She is retiring tonight. Bob Menendez of New Jersey, he's retiring. Bob Casey Jr. of Pennsylvania. Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. Al Giordano of Vermont. Tim Kaine of Virginia. And Mariah Cantwell of Washington. These are 7 Democrat senators who are retiring, giving us 11 retiring senators all together. And here is the state of the economy. 52% of voters say the economy is doing really well, while 46% say the economy is doing very poorly, mostly on party lines, it seems like. And here is the polling consensus heading into the night. As you can see here, the polling map suggests that Democrats will flip 9 Senate seats here tonight, and will have a filibuster-proof majority, flipping seats like Nevada, Utah, Arizona. They will flip Texas, according to the polling. They'll flip Michigan back. They'll win Ohio, West Virginia. They'll win Florida as well. So the polling is suggesting a big night for Republicans. Oh, and we can't forget about Montana as well. Now taking a look at the governor's map, this one paints a more weary picture for Republicans, as Democrats are expected to win 3/5 of governor seats here tonight, making a net gain of 3 seats. Those 3 seats being South Carolina, South Dakota, and Iowa. Those 3 seats. This is going to be an interesting midterm, as most of the Rust Belt's either likely or safe Democrat, with the exception of Ohio. The incumbent governor, John Husted, polling very well. It is now 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and it is now time for poll closings. Now to Indiana Senate race, Luke Messer will win another term to the United States Senate. He will go on to defeat J.D. Ford by 12 percentage points here in the state of Indiana. Out of Vermont Senate race, Becca Balint will win her first term to the United States Senate. She will go on to defeat the former state auditor, Tom Salmon, by 25 percentage points. Out of Virginia Senate race, Jennifer Foy, she will win her first term to the United States Senate. She will go on to defeat former Congressman Dave Graff. And here's the current Senate composition so far. It is anyone's game here tonight. Cory Booker, the new Senate leader for Democrats heading into the new 2031 session. That is expected to happen. If Democrats win the majority here tonight, he would be the first black majority leader in the Senate. That would be historic. But the Democrats are leading 36 seats to the Republicans 34. Now out of Vermont's governor race, Molly Gray, she will go on to win another term as governor of Vermont, defeating Corey Parent by 50 percentage points, even winning Essex County, the reddest county in Vermont. And out of Georgia's gubernatorial race, Cassim Reed is currently leading 40 points over Doug Collins. And out of South Carolina, too close to call, Todd Rutherford is currently leading Shane Massey, the incumbent governor, by 16 points. And here is the current governor's composition. Anyone's game here tonight. Republicans lead. Republicans being led by Utah Governor DJ Henderson. They have 9 seats. And while the Democrats being led by Virginia Governor, who was elected just last year, Lee Carter, they have 7 seats. It is now 7:30 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Ohio, it is currently too close to call. Morgan Harper, very progressive candidate, running against unpopular Senator Josh Mandel. Harper currently has a 26-point lead. 26-point lead over Josh Mandel. Out of West Virginia, too close to call. This state was supposed to go safe for Democrats, but the numbers that are coming in suggest otherwise. Richard Ojeda currently has a 26-point lead over the incumbent Senator Alex Mooney. Very unpopular in the state of West Virginia. And here's the current Senate composition. No change. Democrats still lead 36-34. Out of Ohio's governor race, too close to call. State Senator David Pepper has a 4-point lead over Governor John Husted right now. Out of Georgia's governor race, we can project that Cassim Reed will be the projected winner in the state of Georgia. He will be reelected to another term as governor. And out of Georgia, and here is the county map on your screen now, Cassim Reed will win the state by 9 percentage points. Out of South Carolina's governor race, currently too close to call. Todd Rutherford's lead drops to about a 2-point lead. And here is the governor composition right now. Democrats making gains, but Republicans still lead 9-8. It is now 8 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Connecticut Senate race, Chris Murphy will be the projected winner. He will go on to win another term to the United States Senate, defeating Dan Carter by 17 points. Out of Delaware, Lisa Rochester will be reelected to another term in the Senate. She will go on to defeat Christine O'Donnell by 18 points. And out of Maine, Cynthia Deal will be reelected to another term in the United States Senate, defeating Steve Abbott by 12 percentage points. Out of Maryland, Chelsea Manning will win another term to the United States Senate. She will go on to defeat Kim Klacik by 40 percentage points. Kim Klacik, not a good candidate for the state of Maryland. Chelsea Manning was able to landslide there. Out of Massachusetts, Tom Conroy will be reelected to another term in the United States Senate. He will go on to defeat Kurt Schilling by 40 percentage points. Big win for Tom Conroy. Out of New Jersey, Josh Geitheimer will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, defeating unpopular former Governor Chris Christie by 20 percentage points. Big loss for the Republicans right there. Out of Rhode Island, Helena Foulkes will be elected to her first term as a senator from Rhode Island, defeating popular Mayor Scott Avedisian by 17 percentage points. Out of Tennessee, Stephen Fincher will be reelected to the United States Senate. He will go on to defeat Megan Barry by 18 percentage points. Megan Barry being very controversial as mayor of Nashville. And out of Florida, currently too close to call, Gwen Graham currently has a 26-point lead over former Attorney General Pam Bondi in the state of Florida. And out of Mississippi, a solidly Republican state that's becoming more and more Democrat, currently too close to call, Jeremy Anderson has a 4-point lead over incumbent Chris McDaniel. And out of Missouri, currently too close to call, another state that's solidly Republican that's competitive tonight, Quentin Lucas, the mayor of, I believe, Kansas City, is currently leading incumbent Senator Josh Hawley by 4 percentage points. And out of Pennsylvania, Malcolm Kenyatta, a controversial candidate being super far to the left, is currently facing off against Dave Reed. He's currently leading by 30 points. And out of Ohio, still too close to call, Morgan Harper's lead drops to about 6 points over Josh Mandel. Out of West Virginia, too close to call, Ojeda's lead drops to about 6 points over Alex Mooney. And there's the current Senate composition tonight so far. Democrats now lead 43 seats to the Republicans 35 seats. It's looking to be a good night for the Democrats so far. Out of Alabama's governor race, Linda Blanchard will be reelected to another term as governor. She will go on to defeat Mayor Walt Maddox by 14 percentage points. Walt Maddox running it up in the suburbs and rural areas here in the state of Alabama, running a pro-life campaign as well as a pro-gun campaign as well. Now, out of the state of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu will be reelected to another term as governor. He will go on to defeat Dan Seltz once again, this time by 14 percentage points. Out of Oklahoma, will go to T.W. Shannon, who will be reelected to another term as governor. He will defeat Anastasia Pittman by, I believe, 22 percentage points, or 28 percentage points, excuse me. Now, out of Tennessee's governor race, Beth Harwell will win reelection to another term as governor, defeating businessman Jeff Yarbrough, that's a hard name to say, by 12 points. Out of Connecticut's governor race, Joe Gainham will be reelected as governor, defeating Heather Sommers by 30 percentage points. Out of Illinois' governor race, Juliana Stratton will be reelected to another term as governor. She will go on to defeat Paul Schimpf by 19 percentage points. Out of Maine's governor race, popular governor Troy Jackson will be reelected as governor. He will go on to defeat Garrett Mason by 22 percentage points. A big win for Troy Jackson here tonight, running up the numbers in rural Maine. Out of Maryland's governor race, Rashun Baker will be reelected to another term as governor, defeating Dan Cox by roughly 43 percentage points. Out of Massachusetts, Danielle Allen will be reelected to another term as governor. She will go on to defeat Shauna O'Connell, a mayor from the state of Massachusetts, by 35 points, or 45 points. Out of Pennsylvania's governor race, Sarah Innamorato will continue the trend of landslides in the state of Pennsylvania. She will be reelected, defeating Jake Foreman by 13 percentage points. Big win for the incumbent governor. Out of Rhode Island's governor race, Nellie Gorbea will be elected to her first term as governor. She will go on to defeat Ken Block by 13 percentage points, underperforming Helena Foulkes, who was up higher on the ballot. Now, out of the state of Florida, their governor race, currently too close to call, Annette Taddeo, a congresswoman, is currently leading Francis Suarez by 4 percentage points, the incumbent governor trailing behind Taddeo currently. And now we can make a projection, a big win for the Republicans. John Husted will be reelected as the governor of Ohio by a larger than expected margin, defeating David Pepper by 8 percentage points. Big win for the incumbent governor, John Husted. Now, a big win for the Republicans in South Carolina. They were expected to lose the seat, but Shane Massey will be reelected to another term as governor, very narrowly reelected over Todd Rutherford, winning the state by 2 percentage points. And now here's the current governor's composition, a statistical tie between Democrats and Republicans. Republicans are hoping to win back the National Governors Association today. It'll be interesting to see if they can. It is now 8:30 p.m. We now have poll closings out of Arkansas. We don't have any Senate races, however, so Chris McDaniel, we can project he will be reelected as a senator from Mississippi. He will go on to defeat Jeremy Anderson by around 8 points, the closest Senate race in Mississippi in a long time. Out of Missouri Senate race, Josh Hawley, he will be reelected to the United States Senate. He will go on to defeat Quentin Lucas by a similar margin as in Mississippi, around 8 percentage points. Now, out of Ohio, a big win for Democrats here tonight. Morgan Harper will be elected as a senator from Ohio, flipping this Senate seat back to Democrat hands after it was flipped in 2024. She will defeat Josh Mandel by just 2 percentage points, flipping Mahoning County up there in northeast Ohio. And now out of West Virginia, Richard Ojeda, he will flip this Senate seat back to blue, which it was previously held by Joe Manchin before flipping to Alex Mooney. Richard Ojeda will flip the seat back to the Democrat hands, winning this seat for the Democrats. He will go on to defeat incumbent Alex Mooney by 2 percentage points. A big win for Democrats, winning in deep red West Virginia. Now out of Florida, it's currently too close to call still. Gwen Graham has a 6-point lead over Pam Bondi. Out of Pennsylvania, too close to call. Malcolm Kenyatta now has a 10-point lead over Dave Reed. Here's the current Senate composition so far. Democrats inching closer to the 51 mark. They only need 6 more Senate seats. Democrats have 45 seats, for the Republicans 37. Now out of Arkansas's governor race, Davy Carter will be elected to his first term as governor. He will go on to defeat Clark Tucker by 20 percentage points. Now to Florida, big win for the Republicans here tonight. Francis Suarez will be reelected to another term as governor, defeating Annette Taddeo by 8 percentage points. Taddeo doing very well in Miami-Dade County. That's pretty much where the battleground was in this state, but Taddeo did do well there. Now here's the current governor's composition. Republicans take the lead, 17 seats to 15. It is now 9 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Minnesota, Richard Painter. He will be elected to his first term as a senator, a neocon through and through, so it'll be interesting to see how he votes in the Senate. But he will defeat Pete Hegseth by 12 percentage points, a big landslide victory for Richard Painter. Out of New Mexico, Mark Heinrich will be reelected to the United States Senate. He will defeat John Sanchez, the former lieutenant governor, by 14 points. Big win for Mark Heinrich. Out of New York, Kirsten Gillibrand will be reelected to another term as a Senate, defeating Dan Senior by 20 points. Out of Nebraska, Shane Osborne will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate. He will defeat Carol Blood by 18 percentage points. Out of North Dakota, Kevin Kramer will be reelected to the United States Senate. He will defeat Jasper Schneider by 35 percentage points here in North Dakota. No surprise. Out of Wyoming, Eric Prince will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate. He will defeat Chris Rothfuss by 28 percentage points, a massive underperformance of the national environment. Now out of Arizona, the Senate race, currently too close to call. Mayor Kate Gallego has a 20-point lead over Senator Doug Ducey. Out of Michigan Senate race, too close to call. Abdul El Sayed, a businessman, is currently leading Senator Robert Ritchie by 26 percentage points currently. Now, out of the state of Texas, a state that is heavily targeted by the Democrats here tonight, Colin Allred is currently leading Ted Cruz by 22 points. Can the congressman make Blexus a reality? Now, out of Wisconsin, too close to call. Tammy Baldwin has a 30-point lead over Mike Gallagher so far. Mike Gallagher, honestly, a great candidate for the red wave. For the blue wave. Let's see if he can outperform expectations. A big gain for Democrats right now is former Congresswoman Gwen Graham has been elected to her first term in the United States Senate, doing what her father did, Bob Graham, and becoming a U.S. Senator from the state of Florida, flipping this Senate seat blue. This Senate seat, we haven't had a Democrat senator from Florida since 2018 with Ben Nelson when he lost to Rick Scott. Now, Gwen Graham will go on to defeat Pam Bondi by 2 percentage points. Big, big victory for the Democrats here in the state of Florida. Now, out of Pennsylvania, Malcolm Kenyatta will be elected to his first term in the Senate. a massive shift to the left in representation in the United States Senate. He will defeat Dave Reed by 4 percentage points in Pennsylvania. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats now at 50 seats. They only need one more Senate seat to take the United States Senate. The Republicans have 40 seats. They need to make up ground in a lot of places, and in places they can if they want to win the majority. Now, out of Colorado's governor race, Mike Johnson will be elected to his first term, or his second term as governor. He will defeat Kevin Priola by 23 percentage points. Out of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan will be re-elected as governor of Minnesota. She will defeat Jennifer Carnahan by 14 points. Out of New Mexico, Howie Morales will be re-elected to the United States, as governor of New Mexico, defeating Rebecca Dow by 15 points. Out of New York, Thomas Suozzi will be elected to his first term as governor, as he defeats Andrew Giuliani by 18 percentage points. Andrew Giuliani doing a lot better in New York City, but Thomas Suozzi making up gains from New York City in upstate New York. In Nebraska, Brett Lindstrom will be elected to his first term as governor, a very moderate populist Republican. He will defeat Tony Vargas by 14 points. Now, out of Arizona's governor race, too close to call, Marco Lopez Jr. has a 38-point lead, a 28-point lead over Treasurer Kimberly Yee. This is supposed to be a very competitive race. Marco Lopez is pretty unpopular, has a 45% approval rating right now. Let's see if the Blue Wave can carry him over. Now, out of Kansas, too close to call, Chris Kobach giving it one more shot at the governor's race. He is running against a pro-life Democrat and Josh Savati, and Savati is currently leading by 30 points over Chris Kobach. Now, out of Michigan, currently too close to call, Garland Gilchrist has a 34-point lead over former Attorney General of the state of Michigan, Mike Cox. Now, out of South Dakota, too close to call. This state was supposed to go to Democrats' hand easily, but it seems it's going to be competitive tonight. Former Congresswoman Stephanie Sandlin is currently leading Mark Mickelson, former state congressman, by 26 points right now. Now, out of the state of Texas, incumbent Governor Steve Adler was the runner-up in the Democrat primary back in 2028. It could be a contender in 2032, we'll just have to wait and find out. But he's running against a radio host in Chad Prather, and he's currently leading him by roughly 24 percentage points. Now, out of the state of Wisconsin, Governor Mandela Barnes is currently leading former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch by 34 points. And here is the governor's composition. Democrats retake the lead 19-18. This is shaping up to be a very competitive scene here. The governor's race to go either way, but I think the Senate is automatically a lockup for Democrats. Now, it is now 10 p.m. in the following states. Poll closings. Mike Kennedy will be reelected to another term in the United States Senate. He will go on to defeat Peter Caroon and, outperform the odds, as polling had him losing. Remember that. Mike Kennedy will defeat Peter Caroon by 10 percentage points. Now, out of the state of Montana, currently too close to call, John Morrison, the former state auditor, is currently leading the incumbent Senator Troy Downing by 12 percentage points. Now, out of the state of Nevada, that Senate race, businessman Stephen Klubeck is currently leading incumbent Senator Danny Tarkanian by around 26 points right now. Out of the state of Arizona, Senate race too close to call. Kate Gallego has a 12-point lead over Doug Ducey. Now, out of Michigan Senate race, too close to call. El Sayed's lead has now dropped to about 6 points over Robert Ritchie. Now, out of the state of Texas, Colin Allred's lead about 12 points above Ted Cruz. Wisconsin, too close to call. Tammy Baldwin has a 10-point lead over Mike Gallagher. And here's the current Senate composition. Democrats still at 50, and Republicans have now jumped up to 51. Now, out of the Iowa's governor race, currently too close to call, former Congresswoman Abby Finkenauer has a 20-point lead over incumbent Governor Ashley Hinson. And out of Nevada's governor race, Governor Marilyn Kirkpatrick has a 38-point lead over Joey Gilbert, a former boxer. Out of Michigan's governor race, Garland Gilchrist will be reelected to another term as governor. He will go on to defeat Mike Cox by 6 percentage points, a big victory for Garland Gilchrist here tonight in Michigan. Out of Wisconsin, a similar story here. Mandela Barnes will be reelected as governor in Wisconsin, defeating Rebecca Kleefisch by 6 percentage points. Now, out of the state of Arizona, Marco Lopez Jr. is currently leading by 8 percentage points over Kimberly Yee. Out of Kansas, still too close to call, Josh Rafati's lead drops to about 10 percentage points. Out of South Dakota, too close to call, Stephanie Sandlin's lead drops down to about 6 points. Out of Texas, too close to call. Steve Adler's lead drops down to by 4 points. And here's the governor's composition. Democrats inching closer and closer to retaining the majority in the Governor's Association, now at 21 seats, so the Republicans 18. It is now 11 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of California, Kevin DeLeon will be re-elected to another term in the United States Senate. He will defeat former mayor of San Diego, Kevin Faulconer, by 30 percentage points. Out of Hawaii, Josh Green will be re-elected, to the United States Senate. He will go on to defeat Charles DeJoe by 30 percentage points. Out of Washington, Hillary Franz will be re-elected to another term in the United States Senate. She will defeat James Butler by 17 points. And now we can make the announcement that the Democrat Party has retained their majority in the United States Senate, getting plenty of seats to retain the majority. And we have a call out of Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin will be re-elected to the United States Senate, defeating her strongest challenger yet in Mike Gallagher by 4 percentage points. Big victory for the Democrats here in the state of Wisconsin. Now out of Montana, currently too close to call. John Morrison now has a 2-point lead over Troy Downing. And out of Nevada, too close to call. Stephen Klubeck has a 6-point lead over Danny Tarkanian. Out of Arizona, too close to call. Kate Gallagher's lead now drops to about 2%. Out of Michigan, too close to call. Abdul El Sayed's lead now at 6 points over Kid Rock. Out of Texas, too close to call. Colin Allred's lead's now at 2 points. It's starting to make both sides sweat in the state of Texas. And here we go. We're Democrats at 54 seats, so the Republicans 41 seats. It's going to be interesting to see how close it is the Democrats get to a filibuster-proof majority, but we'll have to wait and find out. Out of California, one of the most popular governors in the country, John Chang, will be re-elected as governor, defeating Kimberly Guilfoyle, one of the worst candidates Republicans could have put up, by 50 points. Giant landslide for John Chang in the state of California. And now out of Hawaii, Donovan De La Cruz will be re-elected as governor of the state. Big win for Donovan De La Cruz, who kind of looks like a mob boss. He will win here by around 45 points. Now out of the state of Oregon, Tina Kotek, she will be re-elected as governor of the state of Oregon, defeating Dallas Hurd by 17 percentage points. Now out of the state of Idaho, Janice McGetchen, she will be re-elected as governor of the state of Idaho. She will defeat Lauren McLean, the mayor of Boise, Idaho, by 25 points, it looks like. Now out of Arizona, big blow to Republicans as Marco Lopez Jr., not a popular governor. It's the opposite. He's very unpopular. But the blue wave has carried him over to the finish line as he defeats Kimberly Yee by 3 percentage points. Republicans are not turning out this year. Out of Kansas, Josh Savati will be elected as the governor of Kansas in his first term, defeating Chris Kobach by 4 points, keeping this governor's race blue. And now we can project that the National Governors Association will stay with the Democrats. The Democrats retain control of the National Governors Association. And now to South Dakota, Democrats continuing to make gains in the governor's races. Stephanie Sandlin will be elected to her first term as governor, defeating Mark Mickelson by 2 percentage points. Big win for Democrats here in South Dakota. Out of Texas, Steve Adler will be re-elected as governor of the state of Texas, defeating Chad Prather by 1 percentage point, a victory similar to his 2026 victory 4 years ago. Now, here is the governor's composition so far. Democrats have a 9-seat advantage over Republicans. They have 28 seats to the Republicans 19. Democrats have solidly taken the governor's mansions. It is now 1 a.m. We now have poll closings out of Alaska. However, we don't have any Senate races, so we can call Montana's Senate race for Troy Downing. He will be re-elected to another term in the United States Senate, defeating John Morrison by 4 percentage points here in the state of Montana. Out of Nevada, Stephen Klubeck will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, defeating Danny Tarkanian, who's very controversial, said a lot of negative things. He will be defeated by 2 points by Stephen Klubeck. And out of Michigan Senate race, a gain for the Democrats, the, third gain tonight. Abdul El Sayed will be the first Arabic senator in U.S. history, defeating Senator Robert Ritchie by 2 percentage points in the state of Michigan. Out of Arizona, Senate race too close to call, a statistical tie between the two candidates. Out of Texas, too close to call, a statistical tie between the two candidates. And here's the current Senate makeup so far. Republicans at 44 seats to the Democrats' 44 seats. Now, out of Alaska's governor race, too close to call. We don't have a candidate at over 50%. Kevin Meyer, the incumbent governor, at 40%. Al Gross at 24%. A doctor. A state senator, Ethan Berkowitz, at 22%. And the attorney general of Alaska, Peter Masecki, at 9%. And here's the current composition. Republicans have a net one now at 20 seats. It is now 1:15 a.m. on the East Coast, and we can now say that Doug Ducey will be reelected as a U.S. Senator from, well, Arizona, obviously. But Doug Ducey being reelected is a shocker because it was expected to go to Kate Gallego. Doug Ducey being narrowly elected over Gallego. That just shows how the popularity of someone could really make a difference in a blue wave year, i.e. Doug Ducey. Now it is 1:30 a.m. We can now make a update on Alaska as Kevin Meyer, the incumbent governor, now jumps up a boost to 45%, getting most of the votes for Peter Masecki, a big second choice for Masecki voters. Al Gross at 27% and Ethan Berkowitz at 23%. Let's see how many Berkowitz voters goes to Meyer. We could be looking at a Myers victory, or we could be looking at a very narrow Gross victory. We'll just have to wait here in about 15 minutes to find out. It is now 1:45 a.m. We can now make a call about Texas Senate race. A Lexus has become a reality. Colin Allred will be elected to his first term in the United States Senate, defeating Ted Cruz very narrowly, running up the margin in the Rio Grande Valley, Dallas, Austin, as well as in the Fort Worth suburbs up there in northeastern Texas. Big win for the Democrats here in the state of Texas. It is now 2 a.m. on the East Coast, and Kevin Meyer will be reelected to another term as governor of Alaska. He will defeat Al Gross in the final round by 10 percentage points, as enough Berkowitz voters, a lot of Berkowitz voters, went to Kevin Myers. Kevin Myers has a habit of reaching across the aisle for support. He has tended to do that in his first term, but it has paid off as he will be reelected by 10 percentage points over Al Gross. And now with that, we can now say that the Democrats will obtain control over the U.S. House. They will gain a net of 33 seats. They didn't have the House already. Republicans had the House, but now the Democrats have the House. Those Democrats now have 247 seats. Catherine Clark will be subjugated as the Speaker of the House for 2 years, while Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans have 188 seats. Now, on the Senate level, the Democrats have 55 seats, so the Republicans 45 seats. Democrats made a net gain of 4 seats here tonight, 5 less than what the polling had indicated. And here's the, here is this, sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Here is the map on your screen now. As you can see here, they flipped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They flipped 7 seats here tonight. Amazing. They flipped Nevada, Texas, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, and Florida. And here's the marginal map. The closest Republican seat won by Republicans is the state of Arizona, and Texas is the closest for the Democrats. And here's the final governor's numbers. Democrats have 29 seats to the Republicans 21 seats. And the only state that flipped this year was the state of South Dakota. Every other seat stayed blue or stayed red. South Dakota, however, felt like it wanted to go blue this year. Republican turnout was very bad this year. And here's the marginal map. The closest the closest governor race for the Republicans was the state of Iowa, while the closest Democrat race was honestly the state of Texas, surprisingly. Steve Adler has a habit of being narrowly elected in the state of Texas. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. 2031 should be coming out soon. This is the Catic One saying, peace.